Yes, welcome everyone, and especially welcome Bishop Kenyi, who has labored hard to try to be with us in person for over a year, maybe a year and a half now. And it just doesn't seem to be possible at the moment. We would love to be in person with you. We would love to be shaking your hand and giving you a hug, but instead, we're meeting by Zoom, and we'll make that as warm as we can. But we're grateful to you for your perseverance and your patience with various different systems that have kept you from coming to us. And we're glad that you're willing to do this today. We're very grateful to you. We care a great deal about what's going on in Sudan, and we care about you and want to hear more about it. So thank you. We're welcome everyone to this Virginia Theological Seminary lunchtime forum. I'm Catherine Grieve. I'm the director of the center. A warm welcome both to everyone in the room and to everyone joining us online on Zoom. We're very glad that you can that we can do this across the waves. How is the hearing? Can you everybody able to hear? Okay, good. Just wanted to do a check. For those of you who are new to the Center for Anglican Communion Studies, we exist to support the communion by providing educational opportunities, training leaders, and providing opportunities for connecting and gathering. And we know that since not everyone can make these sessions, and we're particularly wanting people to know about it, we're going to record the public part of our discussion today so that others can access it later. It won't go to YouTube or Facebook until Bishop Kenyi has a chance to cut anything he wants or whatever. But we do want to have a record of this and access to it. We go until 1:45 today, and we'll hear from our speaker for a half an hour from about 1 to 1:30, where it's almost that now, then have some time for discussion without the recording. I also want to recognize Santino's presence among us. Last year, Santino gave a wonderful forum describing his perilous escape and difficulties just getting out of Sudan and getting here. And we're still remembering that very special time when you honored us with your stories, Santino. I'm particularly glad you can be here today to engage with Bishop Kenyi. So we're delighted to welcome Bishop James Lule Kenyi from the Diocese of Kajo-Keji in the Episcopal Church of South Sudan. He was supposed to visit us on a communion sabbatical this fall and could not get a visa. We just, what can we say about the way our borders are right now? We're not much looking outside to the rest of the world. We're very focused on America first, and America tightening its boundaries, borders. So we thank you for making the time for us during your evening, and we pray for a time when we can welcome you to Virginia Seminary in person.
Amen.
A little bit more about Bishop Kenyi. He served as diocesan bishop since 2023. Before that, in various leadership positions in both theological education and civil society. Principal of Kajo-Keji Christian College for 8 years. He taught education and theology after completing a doctorate in management from Njj, did I butcher that? University in Uganda, with a focus on leadership and organizational change. He's been working to train people in pastoral ministry, theology, community-based projects, curriculum design, conceptualizing organizational structures, designing strategic plans for schools, colleges, and churches of the Episcopal Church of South Sudan, and also other denominations. Outside the church and the academy, he served as ministry coordinator for Samaritan's Purse International as South Sudan, as well as the Inspector of Religious Affairs for the County of Kajo-Keji. He doesn't do anything. So much activity, very, very impressive set of credentials, sir. In recent months, Bishop Kenyi made an appeal for humanitarian intervention following surprise attacks between South Sudanese and Ugandan soldiers at the end of July in South Sudan's Kajo-Keji County. Since then, he's continued his work for peace building at the community, church, national, and international levels. We are deeply honored to hear from you today, and we warmly welcome your presentation whenever you want to begin.
Yeah, thank you very much for the warm welcome and also for the introduction that so far you have done. I just want to repeat, my name is Right Reverend Dr. Lule James Kenyi. I'm a theologian by training, a teacher by profession. I am married to Mary Lekea James, and God has blessed us with 4 girls and 2 dependent children, a boy and a girl. In total, I have 6 children. My work experience, as has been read, I've been in this ministry as a pastor for good years. I started the ministry as a pastor in 2005 until the time that I became the bishop of the Diocese of Kajo-Keji. I'd been serving the church in various capacities as it has been read unto you. Currently, my ministry as a bishop, I do engage in 2 areas, both in Uganda, in the refugee camps, and also in South Sudan, in Kajo-Keji. My presentation this morning or this evening at my side is on my role as a bishop, as a pastor, as a religious leader on peace building, particularly in the context of Kajo-Keji. I am not talking the whole of South Sudan, but my approach is a grassroots approach, and it is all about Kajo-Keji. As I'll be speaking to you, I'll be bringing out what I am currently doing as a bishop in relation to peace building. I may not be in position to give you some slides at the moment, but in it being, I'll be able to share with pictures at a later time. But as for now, I just want to bring my experience and what I am doing. I have been encouraged with the words of Paul in Romans chapter 11, verse 19, that if possible, make every effort to do what leads to peace. As you have read over the media, the situation of South Sudan, the history of South Sudan, as a new country. South Sudan, of course, it gains its independence from Sudan in 2011, but it continues to experience recurring conflicts. The failure to sustain peace had also a devastating impact on the lives and the millions of the people of South Sudan. In 2013, war broke out in Juba, and that war spread all over the country. Many people were internally displaced, and others ran to the refugee camp. Up to date, others are still in the refugee camp. Kajo-Keji Diocese or Kajo-Keji County in 2013 became a ghost land. All the people of Kajo-Keji ran away. They moved to Uganda. They stayed in Uganda as a refugee. But although people were in Uganda as a refugee, myself and my late Bishop Emmanuel, we had been doing some peace engagements with the government leaders and then also the army in Kajo-Keji. Although many people would not access their homes and families, but because of our engagement in peace programs, I was able to access the college, and Bishop Emmanuel, late Bishop Emmanuel Muremodi, was able also to access the diocesan headquarters. When the revitalized peace agreement was signed in 2018, that gave us hope. And then it also prompted us as a church to move back to Kajo-Keji. There were no people, but we came back and we started a ministry of peace building. Peace building with who? Because now many of the people, they were still in the refugee camp in Uganda in 2018 when we came. Many of the people were in the refugee camp. As a peace builder, we engage in dialogue with the few stakeholders who were around. Of course, that time, we have the commissioner, we have the army commanders, and then we have some few people who had also dared to return back to Kajo-Keji. And we started what we call civil-military relation dialogues. And when we started those dialogues opened an opportunity for the people to share their grievances, the civilians and the army. Through God's mercy and His grace, people started building up good relationship between the few that have returned and then the army. And because Kajo-Keji is very close to the border, and news also started going out to the refugee camp that the church has returned and the church is doing a lot of work. Confidence has been built. Then people started coming back. As a result, we as a church, we brought the institution called Kajo-Keji Christian College back, and we started teaching students in the college. Now, as I talk to you, I am happy that my Christians are returning back gradually. The Diocese of Kajo-Keji by then was having 46 parishes. And as I share with you, so far we have opened 43 parishes. And in every Sunday, in all these churches, sometimes the number may go up to 100 or 150. So that came as a result of our engagement and our commitment as a church onto peace building. Another activity that we do, not only the dialogue, but we also engage in various meetings on peace, reconciliation, and confidence building in the community. As we talk for now in South Sudan generally, the church is the only institution that is trusted in building peace and encouraging people. And what we did, we said we cannot work alone as the Diocese of Kajo-Keji, but we need to work together with the Christian body. And we formed what we call Interchurch Committee on Peace and Reconciliation. Interchurch Committee on Peace and Reconciliation. The Interchurch Committee on Peace and Reconciliation is a combination of different denominational leaders coming together to encourage one another, and then also to encourage and maintaining peace within Kajo-Keji. This interchurch, we engage them when there are issues. They are the very people to respond, and then they can be able to bring information. We analyze, and then we help people together. Not only this committee, because the church is to work with the community, we also formed a community peace committee. And then they work together in this. Another activity that currently we are also doing as a church is on workshops on trauma healing. The trauma healing, we have to deal now with the healing of the past wounds. As we know, the 2013 war, many people lost their lives. Many people lost their resources. So this trauma healing became another tool to help our people so that they can get settled. And various workshops we have conducted These are also some segments of peace, because when there is a peace, we encourage people to receive their healing in their past wounds. And another activity that we normally do as a church, from time to time, we have workshops on cross-border. You know, Kajo-Keji Diocese or Kajo-Keji area is bordering Uganda. And up to date, the border has not been demarcated. So from time to time, there used to be some misunderstandings between the two bordering county, and then also the district of Moyo and then Yumbe. So we used to have also peace building engagement along the border, especially Moyo district. It is unfortunate that recently, as you heard from the introduction, that there been some unrest at Moyo, at Yumbe district. I think because we have not done much dialogue in the side of Yumbe, but we concentrated in Moyo district, between Moyo and Kajo-Keji. So Kajo-Keji is bordered with the two districts from Uganda, that is to say Moyo and Yumbe district. So it was unfortunate. It was also the same in 2014, Kajo-Keji and Moyo people also went into conflict in the border. So what we did as a church, because we want people to coexist, we want people to stay together, we came out with the initiative of cross-border peace engagement between the South Sudan, Kajo-Keji, and Uganda, that is to say, Moyo district. This has done a great impact today, especially in the side of Moyo district. People are able to reconcile. People are able to farm together along the disputed area. And the message that we were telling them, that let them coexist, and then let them wait patiently until that time when the border is demarcated, then they will be able to know exactly where they belong. And because of that, of the engagement of the church, we are happy that the area of Moyo has been peaceful. The challenge now, that as you have heard, is the other district. But we are looking forward for community-to-community engagement, whereby these two communities, we will engage them together, so that also they will be able to coexist and stay together. Under this initiative, we sometimes bring the two areas together annually for annual conference, where we discuss on matters of coexistence. We have so far done two, and we are looking forward that this year we may have another one at the cross-border, so that we can be able to have that conference. Another activity that we do as a church is meeting political and military leaders in Kajo-Keji. This is to promote forgiveness, reconciliation, and healing. During the time of the conflict, there are a lot of damages that have been done. And these meetings, we discuss issues, and after discussion, people will be able to forgive one another, people will be able to reconcile, and there also, people will experience healing. Not only that, the church in Kajo-Keji We are also promoting our cultural culture and religious values that enhance unity, peace, and reconciliation in the community. These activities, one may ask, how do you do those activities? Because these activities, something to do with the peace, requires a lot of funds. So we also advocate, we lobby for funds from partners. One of our strongest partners, which is supporting us in this program, is the Lutheran Church, the World Lutheran Church Federation. LWF is one of the organizations that support us in this program. And then we have also Tiafan, that has been our long partner. They are also supporting us in this program of peace. Brethren in Christ, because of these activities, the Diocese of Kajo-Keji has become a peace champion in this region with this approach of grassroots. Somebody was challenging me when I was talking more of Kajo-Keji. One of the elders was saying, Bishop James, never talk more of Kajo-Keji. Why don't you widen your perspective? Because if there is peace in your area and your neighbor is not experiencing peace, you are not in peace. When there is a problem with your neighbor, definitely you will also be affected. Then I said, yes, definitely we are affected. The situation in South Sudan, we are all affected, but we are taking the mandate is to see to it that where we are operating as leaders, as a church, we need the church to be fair. Not only in preaching a message of salvation, but the church should also be fair in some of the practical activities that we have, like the peace building. And indeed, I committed myself to peace building. This afternoon, I was very busy since morning, actually. Let me say, we have organized also a civil-military dialogue where we brought 50 soldiers and then also 50 local people together to discuss how are we going to build ourselves up in the current situation that we are in. And then tomorrow we are going to continue with the dialogue. And that is how we normally bring people together to dialogue. So I consider it as a mandate for me. I want to try my level best also to contribute to peace. As you are getting from the media, I think at the moment in South Sudan, it is not easy to determine the general peace in the country. But we are trying as a church to maintain in our local settings so that our people may not continue suffering. We have gone almost 7 decades suffering. And I thought the only approach that we can be able to realize peace must begin at the grassroots. And then it move to the individual. Then from individual, it can radiate to the neighborhood. And then from there, people can be able to realize peace. Therefore, friends, as I said earlier on, I am not presenting an academic paper whereby I have to define what does the word peace mean. Of course, peace is a well-being, and everyone needs peace. Whether one is staying in a country which is peaceful, or one is staying in a country which is not peaceful, but we all needed peace. And the peace that we are talking, the peace that we are trying to expose, we use the gospel to encourage our people. And I want to thank the Lord for the initiative. Until now, we are seeing people of Kajo-Keji, they are returning back from the refugee camp. They are opening their palms. They are renovating their buildings, and others are raising up new buildings. And that is my pride. And I want to say thank you very much. I really don't have much to present. I want to give time. If you have questions, you may ask questions. And I continue to dedicate myself to this. My interest by then was that if I happen to go to your site, I was going to write some papers. Then we will be able to see together, bringing all my experience, and then also I will add some academic papers, some references, and see other writers, so that I can be able to develop something on the grassroots concept. So my idea by then was to go there, to study, to read, to get time, so that I can widen my perspective of what I'm doing with the scholarly materials. So that was my objective, because practically we have done a lot, but now I want to raise my understanding with the academic, with the scholarly work, and then later maybe I would be able to do some publication in your site. That was my intention when I applied for the sabbatical. But thank you for giving me the opportunity this morning to share with you. Some of you are staffs, others are students. I just want to share my experience on what we are doing at a church at our level in Kajo-Keji. And I want to thank God for the far He has brought us. And this is just a prayer, so that also in this moment, you can be able to pray for my work. You can be able to pray for the Diocese of Kajo-Keji. You can be able to pray for South Sudan. I don't educate you about South Sudan, because you have read them. You have known South Sudan, how difficult life our people have gone. Garang is there. I think you might have learned from him a lot. Thank you very much. May the good Lord bless you. I can see Sally is there.